Greetings, people. It's Jared here, Wolfgang1, back to do another Transformers review. I'm just going to get straight on into this because I've just done the photo gallery for the Facebook page, and it was 177 photos. So I can only assume that this review is just going to be fucking unnecessarily long, but I can't get out of it because there's so much to show. I'm dedicating this review to Clint McFadden's Sea Spray, who's having a bit of a rough time of it at the moment. And I thought I'd cheer him up by doing something utterly ridiculous, and I don't get much more ridiculous than this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the review for Transformers Generation 1 reissue Power Master Optimus Prime. Okay, so here is Power Master Optimus Prime in his box. This is the commemorative Series 2 Generation 1 reissue, which came out like sort of 2010 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure when it was. I'm gonna not spend too long on the packaging here, ladies and gentlemen, for the simple fact being that this is fucking mental. This thing is insane. This makes the one that we got in the UK the first time around back in the 80s pale in comparison to what this actually is. This little flap opens up here, and you can see that it's got his Power Master Companion Haikyuu and the larger robot head just here. Actually, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that because of the lights. Hold on. Yeah, see, you can see that. Fucking lovely. And some of the other figures in this series was, well, let me just turn it around and you can see for yourself. That is Power Master Prime's transformation and everything like that. And like, so I will come on to why this looks different. If I can get the fucking thing to focus. No, I don't bother then. I mean, it's only a fucking one of my reviews, isn't it? On the back here, we've got the Power Master and Pretender battle scene that was standard on the Power Master toy at that time. We've got all the different things that Prime is and what he comes with down on the side there. And some of the other figures that he came with in this commemorative Series 2 was the original Optimus Prime, Hot Rod, now called Rodimus Major, Ultra Magnus, and Starscream. So yeah, I'm not going to spend too long on this box. I'm just going to say now, just take a moment to bask in its glory. And the reason I want to get away from the box is because I want to focus in on the toy, and I don't want my background, my messed up, fucked up background that you can see on either side here, like a border. This toy, I got it off eBay, and it was a buy it now, and the buy it now price was 20 quid. I will just go out of the way and say it now. Possibly one of the best 20 new pounds I've ever spent in my life. This was an absolute steal. I didn't hesitate. I was looking for a Power Master Prime. This came up. I didn't know that they'd actually reissued it, and they hadn't. And Hasbro have reissued the Japanese version, which is what you're seeing here. So there are some serious differences between this and the original Western release that we got. So yeah, 20 quid, brand new in box. This fucker had never been opened before I got my grubby little hands on it. And 20 quid, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I think that's a more than respectable price. And you'd be absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to just cut the camera. I'm going to get this fucking thing out of its box. And then we'll get onto the figure itself and the accessories and all the stuff it came with, because there's a lot to unpack on that one as well. Okay, so here is Power Master Prime in his basics version of his Alt mode, which retains a lot of the design features of his original Alt mode, which is a red American style cab over a truck instead of a Peterbilt like it was in the live action films. Some things to note here immediately, because I've got a very, very good memory. I can tell you exactly what's different between this and the original release. So this one here, as you can see, it's got like sort of red painted sections just here either side of the cab grille. On the 1988 version or whatever it is that was released here and in America, and that these two sections here were grey that matched the cab grille just here. There's actually quite a bit of chrome wear on the outside rim of that, if you can see. other thing to note is this section here is metal with like plastic blue glass, plastic windows. The Western release, this was all plastic, and these were stickers. These were very, very shiny blue stickers to simulate windows. So Hasbro have basically released or reissued the Japanese version of this as opposed to the original version that was released in America and the UK. And I'll be honest with you, this version is fucking heads and tails above what we actually got. So in the Japanese continuity, this isn't Optimus Prime. This is a guy called Jinrai. This is a lifeless transector, a lifeless transformer body that was designed to be a replacement for Optimus Prime. And some Japanese truck driver ends up getting hold of him, putting on some bracelets, becoming a Power Master, and turning into the engine, and then plugging in here and basically releasing the ability to transform the cab. And he looks like Optimus Prime, but his name's Jinrai. And throughout the Super God Master Force show, he ends up getting several upgrades, one of which is his trailer, and another one is eventually the Apex armor, which in the UK or the Western release they've called God Bomber. I'll come on to all that in a minute. This guy, because there's metal in him, as in the front section of the cab, this is heavy. This is a lot heavier than the original version. This is a two-tone red here, but I guess on the camera that's actually showing up almost exactly the same color, which is lovely because to the naked eye it really isn't. I'm just going to set Prime off to one side for just a moment and show you the level of bullshit that he came with in his original version, and then what we'll do is we will show what the additions are for the reissue. So he came with this little fella here, Haikyuu. Haikyuu is in the Western release a Nebulan scientist who creates the Power Master process and decides to bond himself to Optimus Prime to stop him from dying. And then there's a massive load of consequences for that later on in the Generation 1 continuity. But that's little Haikyuu. He will eventually turn into an engine by basically sticking his legs behind his ears. Now, I thought that was a completely different process that led to a completely different situation. But apparently, if I could get my legs behind my ears, I could potentially turn into a Power Master engine if I had a suit. If not, I just look like I'm trying to suck my own dick. So that's Haikyuu. He would have come with two of these double blaster things in the Western release. Now, these go onto the trailer for attack mode. They actually form part of the defense base. Haikyuu can actually sit in this little groove just here. I found that out as a kid, and I thought I was being really clever. Because I had Slapdash and Power Master Optimus Prime as my Power Masters, and I'd had their little Nebulan parters sitting in these little grooves here. In fact, you know what I will do for the benefit of this review? I will show this now. So basically, prise his legs apart just like this, and then you'll see he's got a strange little plastic crutch dick thing that sits in these two grooves. Now, this is clearly an intentional thing for the defense base mode, right? I thought I was the only person in the world who discovered this, and I thought I was being really clever, and they could sit there and sit on mounted guns. Apparently that it was a thing, and I'm not as clever as I thought I was. So 8-year-old me was a fucking idiot, quite frankly. But there we are. So interesting thing to note, in the original Haikyuu, the red here and on the legs was a lot brighter. It was a more vibrant red. On this case, in fact, do you know what? Stay right there, because I've got in my room here, just to fucking prove a point, right? I've got Generation 1 Brainstorm, and he comes with Arcana. Now, the Arcana that I've got had both his arms sheared off, and he had Haikyuu's arms glued on for some reason. And you can see that the red there from the original Haikyuu arms is a lot brighter than what we've got on the reissue version of Haikyuu just there. So I'm just showing that to highlight that I know what I'm talking about. Okay. The Western release for the original Power Master Prime had these cast in a lighter dull grey. Imagine a cross between Generation 1 Galvatron, I guess, and the plastic that forms the tower for the rocket base of Countdown's Micromaster base. It was cast in that sort of plastic. This is a shiny metallic type plastic, which is all well and lovely, I guess. Prime in his Western release would have also come with these two massive cannon blaster things that he sticks onto the top of the trailer, and he also holds, not to any degree of success, in robot mode and in his large mode. Now, they always sat very, very perfectly and lovely in the in the hands of the Power Master Prime, the big version. These ones, however, from the moment I've got it out the packet, these don't really tend to fit the trailer, and they don't fit the hands of the large Power Master Prime. I don't know why. Both of them are exactly the fucking same, and they don't quite fit, so that's a bit fucking annoying. And Power Master Prime also would have come with his large head for the Super Robot mode. Always interested in how they decided to cast the eyes in a red plastic. It kind of makes Prime look like a Nemesis Prime, if you will, like an evil Prime. The original version, oh Christ, if none of this is making sense, then please go and watch another video. The original version of this, the little robot head, which is just under here, had tiny little red eyes as well, but on this version the eyes are cast in blue, but they decided to leave the red eyes for this one here, which I don't know about that. It's a little bit weird. It's a fantastic head sculpt. I always thought this was fantastic. Yeah, so there we are. And he also would have come with, back in the day, his trailer, which I will show off properly in a minute. But he would have come with this. This has got differences as well. Actually, I'll come on to all that. This is going to be a very, very long video, ladies and gentlemen. I can't get out of that, sadly. But this version also comes with additional shit, right? So it comes with this, which is an addition to the trailer. This is the Apex God Bomber. This is a parts former. It turns into another robot that can fight alongside Optimus, and also attaches to the larger robot to form a super duper giant brick that you can't do fuck all with, but it does look ridiculously amazing. So it comes with that. I will come on to that when I fucking get to it. He come with two of these like little wing things that will eventually be part of something else, and I think this is one of the first times where we actually saw the jet wing Optimus Prime option. So yeah, two little wings and one one rocket launcher thing that plugs into his shoulder, and two of these. One of these stays in the box because I don't need fucking two of them out. Two of these silver missiles that plug into said missile launcher, just like that, and they do actually fire out, which surprises me actually. I would have thought Hasbro would have actually taken out the fire mechanism, but whatever. He also would have come with an instruction booklet, and I'll be honest with you, I searched high and low for that fucking thing. I can't find it. I must have lost that almost as soon as I opened the box. Bear in mind, the box was brand new. It was sealed. No one had ever touched the toy before me, and I paid 20 quid for it. I'm just going to mention that again because I'm a bit of a cunt. Right, so, ladies and gentlemen, Power Master Optimus Prime in his basic cab mode. Now, as a Power Master, he cannot transform on his own. So we're going to need high Q for that. I'm just going to give you a quick size comparison to the original. Oh, the original. The one that makes me fucking wet. The original G1 Optimus Prime. So you can see there's a bit of a difference in size there, but nothing too over the top. The over the top comes fucking later, believe me. And whereas this version looks cooler, this toy in the basic form, in the basic robot form, this toy beats this one fucking hands down. There is no competition. Whereas this looks Absolutely amazing. This is massively, massively, massively fucking hindered by what is basically the Transformers gimmick, the Power Master gimmick. If you lost said Power Master, right, and you're worried, oh no, I can no longer transform my Optimus Prime, there was a simple way out of it. You just fucking push that in and push this little fucking white button, and that releases the transformation mechanism, which is trapped somewhere in here. Okay, so yeah. So that's the size comparison between Optimi. Optimi? Is that right? Optimi? I've not really fucked around with this guy a massive amount because I put him in combine mode, and sometimes it's a trial to get him into combine mode, and even though it's simple, but by the time you finish with it, you just go, what am I doing with my life? Sadly, there is paint chipping. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. Fucking focus cunt. There is paint chipping along the rivets just here. There is chrome wear on this. Not so much any chrome wear on here. That's just my fucking fingerprints getting in the way. And there's a little bit more paint defecting just here, and that doesn't look particularly perfect. Yeah, there's there's a little bit of paint chipping just underneath there. It's a small price to pay, really, considering that this is actually metal, whereas what we got before was plastic with sticker windows on it. And if you for some reason were an idiot like I was as a kid and end up scratching the sticker windows, then you've permanently ruined the alt mode. You live and learn. So yeah, that's Power Master Optimus Prime. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Haikyuu, and we're going to put him into his legs behind the ears alluring mode, right? So you do that, you basically bring up his legs like this. That doesn't look comfortable, does it? Fucking hell. And then you turn him round, and that is basically the engine mode. And this engine will plug in here, just like that. And that will release the transformation. Okay. Now, before I come onto said transformation, I'm just going to show off the trailer. Oh, fucking hell. Right. This is the trailer. It's a far cry, really, in terms of... it's a futuristic design, I guess. It keeps some of the familiar traits like the double line and the Autobot logo and sort of everything like that. There's a small compartment in the back here. If you put your finger in and just like bring that down, there's a small compartment. There's no sign for a roller or anything like that. It's handy fucking head storage though, for the large robot head. Again, I thought I was the only one who sussed this out as a kid. Probably not so much. It was probably designed like that for a reason. So yes, the original version of this was all cast in not this metallic grey. It was the grey that I mentioned earlier for the double cannons, and the Western version didn't have these blue sliders because it had the robot's hands on the top, just here, and the hands were red and sticking up, and it looked fucking stupid. The Japanese release, however, did away with that, remolded it, and put in these sliders so you could have sliding hands when the time comes for large robot mode. So let's put him on his thing, and this here, let's bring that back just a little bit. There we go. That there is Optimus Prime in basic tractor trailer mode. Okay. It can turn like that, like the original could. That's all very well and good. It rolls very nicely on its little plastic tires. The proper mode, which they wanted you to give to it, was you put on these two large overbearing fucking cannons and plug them into the sides of these sections just here. One will go in there, one will go in there. And then these guns here, as I said, don't really fucking work as well as they should. That fits in there, but that is very, very, very loose. That's not supposed to be that loose. I can't do anything about it. Put the other one in here. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Optimus Prime in his tractor trailer fucking attack mode. And these things can come down like they're massive smokestacks, but they fire lasers and they fucking squeak a lot. And this is how I always had my Prime, and to be honest, I even though all these bits on the side of him look fucking ridiculous and everything like that, I actually kind of love this. I really do. This is sort of like 80s decadence getting just a little bit out of hand. How far can we take this? How fucking ridiculous can we make this look? If this had come out in G2, right? The G2 Optimus, the original, was just a rehash of the original Generation 1 Prime. Hello, Generation 1 Prime. With a black trailer and his fucking name stamped across the trailer, like just giving up on the entire idea of a disguise thing. But if this had come out in the later half of the Generation 2 line, then this would have been all nylon green, fucking pink, God knows what else. That's how ridiculous it was getting. And I kind of actually want to see a repaint of it. I really do. I want to see Generation 2 1993 Power Master Optimus Prime in all his fucking vomitous fucking glory. Tea is life. So this, as it stands right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically what we would have had in the UK and American markets. Okay, this was the whole of Power Master Optimus Prime. The Japanese, on the other hand, turned around and went, fuck that. And they introduced God Bomber. And let's just give God Bomber all his fucking, what do we call it? Right, so one wing goes on there. The other wing goes on the other side. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but just take my fucking word for it, please. Let's set Prime off to the back. Fucking hell. And this here is what travesty. This is fucking 18 minutes in, and this is God Bomber. This is an attachment to the trailer. So we'll put on his missile launcher thing just here, because that fucking just screams pointless overkill, doesn't it? And then if you've got the room to display him like this, fucking I will take my hat off. I will doff my hat to you and say fucking congratulations. Where am I going with this? Right, so this little hitch thing just here will connect to the underside just here. You've got or it can fall apart. It is a parts former, ladies and gentlemen, and as such, it's fucking prone to doing shit like that, especially when I'm trying to do a review. That goes like that. Get that shit out of the way. I'm now going to have to pull this camera back again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Power Master Optimus Prime in his full trailer mode, right? Ignore the fact that this has come off, right? This is insane. This is it's cool. I think it's fantastic, but it's too much. It's too much playability for what will eventually be something with little to no articulation and will just stand there static and looking a little bit fucking shocked and surprised. This is just a little bit too much, especially for my fragile little mind to take. Okay, it's absolutely fucking ludicrous. I would dearly love to display this like this. I do not have a single surface. If I took some books off a shelf, maybe it would probably just about take up the whole length of the shelf. That's how ridiculous this thing is. Quite simply overkill, absolute overkill. But there we are. So we are gonna just ignore the Apex God Bomber for just a moment, right? Let's set this fucker back down on the floor until I am ready to delve into him some more. Let's take that off. Jesus Christ. Let's zoom back in. Let's just do the base first, okay? Let's get this out of the way. So, much like the original Prime's trailer, this has a combat deck mode. But this combat deck mode is it's a little more obvious that it's a combat deck. It's like a little base, and it has ramps and fucking things like that. And to transform it, it's not difficult. What you want to do is you want to start by pulling out these, lifting that up a little bit, pull out these side panels on both sides, like that. And then just bring them out to the sides, split the entire thing like that. There we are. And bring them all the way out to the sides like this, okay? Then sit it up on its side like that. Bring these sections forward. Fold these sections underneath. Bring down like this. Fold out these two panels just here for funky ramps. Now, if you want to, if you're that way inclined, you can also pull out the back of the trailer doors like that for like extra funky fucking funkiness. And then pull down this one just here. Okay. Fold out these two. Bring them up. And then bring the trailer hitch forward like that. And that is your basic combat deck base thing. Now we're going to add some weapons to it, because why the fuck not? If you turn it round, there is nothing going on there whatsoever. There's nothing. So we're going to do that. We are going to attach these black guns to the sides of these things just here and rotate them forward like that. And then these ones here, the double cannon fucking things, are going to sit very nicely in these holes just here on either side. Okay. Like that. And that is the combat deck. Now, if you can then take high Q, right, and then put him back into attacking crab mode, right? And then if you're a very impressionable 8-year-old boy who thinks he's suddenly sussed out something that no one else has, you can put him on one of these little guns just like that. And then move the guns like this. And hey presto, ladies and gentlemen, you have a combat deck mobile based command center fucking thing. So I guess the playability value there is, you know, it is apparent. You can have little cars run up on these ramps and then go nowhere. The large prime head has nowhere to go, so that just sits off to one side. It's all right. It's okay. Again, all this stuff here, this wasn't cast in this color plastic either. It was that sort of strange, off-putting light grey, the grey equivalent of beige, I think it was basically. Things to talk about in this mode. Well, I've noticed that these arms are kind of loose on these hinges, but you can't have everything. That's about as much as you get out of it, quite frankly. It is what it is. It's all right. It's okay. It's you know, I dare say I had lots of adventures with Power Master Prime and the combat deck and his little Power Master companion, who sits on the guns and wouldn't tell anybody else in the whole world that he could do it. So yeah, so that's the combat deck. So what we're going to do is we are going to basically just get that back into what's the mode? Trailer mode. Okay, so like that. Do that. Fold that in. Fold that in. Bring those down. And there we are. That's the trailer. Let's get that out of the way. We are now moving on, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going on and on and on, and there is absolutely no payoff so far. Here we are. Power Master Optimus Prime, or Jinrai, as he's known in certain circles. Yeah, nothing else to say about the Alt mode. So we are going to take this now to the standard Optimus Prime robot mode. Okay. Now he cannot transform under his own fucking steam. So we're going to get high Q into his questionable Lady of the Night mode, just like that. And then we're going to stick him into Prime's cavity. There's no other way of saying it really. Now his little crutch stick thing here is going to trigger this white button, okay? When you push the whole assembly in like that. And that will now, straighten up you fucker, that will now unlock the ability to transform. And to transform him, we pull out the cab and then rotate this section like this. That'll be the feet, and then we stand it up. Right now, bear with us on this, okay? Because this is where it gets a little bit shit. We are then going to pull down this plate here. We are then going to fold out these two sections, bring down these two sections. That will form the arms. See, I guess they have learned something from Generation 1 Prime, so his hands are actually incorporated, but the transformation is a bit piss. And then we're going to flip up this panel just here. And there is Prime in his standard robot mode. It looks like Optimus Prime. I think they've taken more design cues from, I think, his animation model, which is quite interesting. His Generation 1 animation model, hence why you've now got his sort of slanted ribcage, the much wider sort of chest, and like the smaller abdomen grill thing. The only problem is, of course, is all this is fake. Those are the blue stickers to which I spoke of earlier. And the one thing I will give the Japanese is when they actually did the cartoon, they stuck to this formula completely, and the back of the real cab was on his back, and this faux chest cab thing on the front. So as you can see, Prime's got blue eyes, and his smokestacks in his shoulders. But this is a step back, ladies and gentlemen. This is a step back from the original, who I am now going to just transform again, because why the fuck not? Let's get his fucking hands out. I hate this. I hate this. That's one thing Power Master Prime does have over the original, is the fact they incorporated the hands into the robot mode. However, and it's a tiny little thing, the original the original Optimus Prime has two separate fucking legs. Okay. This one here does not, because it's joined in the middle by the section that holds the trailer hitch. Okay, so this isn't a separate assembly, this is all one assembly. His arms will only go that far. You can't rotate at the elbow. That's shit. You can't rotate at the shoulder because of this hinge just here that the whole thing sits on. So he can only, in terms of articulation, he can raise his arms like that, which causes a bit of a problem with his guns, because now he can only get the gun that far. He's got Generation 1 Hound syndrome. Okay, now if you watched my original Generation 1 Prime review, you would know that one thing I hated was in the marketing campaign and things, that they always had Prime holding his gun off to the side, whereas you can actually hold it perfectly fine in the hand, just here. On this one, however, you're going to have to do it in order to get the gun up to any level of success, like that. That's a step back, ladies and gentlemen. That is a step backwards. However, he does tower over the original Prime. He does tower over the original Prime. However, that doesn't necessarily make him any better. The simple basic Jinrai stroke Prime mode here, before he turns into Super Prime, is severely lacking over... It's missing characteristics which made the original Prime next to him so iconic. All right, so yeah, this one's got die cast in like the cab and everything like that. Maybe slightly more animation accurate, I don't know. But the fact that you can't get the fucking arms up past the elbows, and the arms don't swivel around, it's not as good as they thought it was going to be. Oh, this is going to trump the original Optimus Prime leaps and bounds. Actually, it kind of doesn't. It kind of doesn't. This design here, because you're desperate to fucking plug this Power Master gimmick thing or whatever, this actual basic robot design thing is actually limited. And this is always the case. I said this with the fucking combiners. I said this with some of the Target Masters, and sort of like whatever the case may be. And actually most of the triple changes, kind of fair, except Sandstorm. whenever you introduce Pretenders is another good example. Whenever you introduce a funky gimmick or something like that, something is always fucking compromised for the sake of the gimmick. And Prime's basic robot mode here is the thing that's been let down by it. But if that was all that Power Master Optimus Prime had to offer, you'd go, yeah, that was a piece of shit. Where I'll take it back. No. Because Prime has an ace up his sleeve. Prime can combine with his trailer to form Power Master Optimus Prime, Super Prime. So, how do we do that? Well, we get Prime here back into his cab form. Okay. Oh yeah, he's got a little bit of knee articulation as well, but that's only for one transformation. It doesn't need to bend backwards like this. There's no point to that at all. I guess it's nice that they included it. Whatever. Here we are. Trailer and Prime and, whatever the case may be. So we're now going to take him to super mode. So for this, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and catch my fucking horrible background in the background. Right, so what we're going to do is this is not difficult, okay? We are going to start by pulling these sections out again and folding them down to the sides. Do that on both sides, okay? Bring the trailer hitch section all the way to the back, and like that. Bring these sections out to the sides, bring them down like this, okay? And then stand the fucker up, okay? Now, this is something you couldn't do on the Western release. These blue tabs here, pull these down, and he's got accurate Optimus Prime coloured hands, like the Western version that had fucking red hands, which I always fucking hated. Prime here is now gonna collapse his cab like this. So we've got basically a cube, and then slot this into that recess just there. There we are, just like that. Okay. Yeah. Now, what we want to do is we want to start giving him things. Actually, we'll give him his things in a minute. His head. This is something else I fucking hate about this toy. Plug the head on the top, because if it was going to have a head that plugged onto the top, surely Prime would have been a headmaster. But whatever. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, is Power Master Optimus Prime in his basic mode, in his basic super mode. And he doesn't do a lot. He doesn't do a lot in this mode. He really doesn't. I mean, I took 177 photos for the photo gallery, and I managed to get him into a pose that I didn't actually know that the figure could do. So let's give him his double cannons on the sides here, which I guess are supposed to emulate his smokestacks. And then these guns here, I fucking hate this. These guns here go into these hands here, and they don't fit very well. Look at that. That's bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. Bullshit. Articulation wise, the arms will go around a full 360. The leg will come out a little bit to the side like this. No knee articulation or anything like that. These things will come down. And if I want to give him any head articulation, I've got to take the fucker off and reposition it. That's about as much as you're going to get out of him in this mode, ladies and gentlemen. It's a brick, and that's if there's one thing that people will say about Power Master Prime, is the design is good. The design is beefed up. He's mean. He's well armed. He's like ready for business. But he is a fucking brick, and it's a shame, because you think in terms of brickiness, this is where the brickiness would end. But no, because the Japanese decided to go one stage further with the brickiness, and they turned a brick into a fucking concrete wall. Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's set Prime off to one side for just a moment, and then move on to This. Right, this is the Apex armor. This is God Bomber. And in the show, it's created by, I don't know, someone as a means to giving Jinrai an extra power boost because he cannot defeat Overlord on his own. It's a parts former. It's a parts former that turns into a robot and then turns into additional armor for the other robot. So if you want to transform this, right, you've got to take the whole thing apart. And when I mean take the whole thing apart, I mean every fucking thing here needs to detach like this. Get that? Right. That, believe it or not, is part of the transformation. All right. So, right. Okay. So to turn this into God Bomber, which turns into a robot comparable in size to the combined Power Master Prime, we are going to start by folding down these tabs just here and folding these out for feet. Okay. So there we are. That's the legs, right? Then we are going to take this section just here and fold out this black section for the head. I will say actually that let's get some light on that actually, because one thing that is worth pointing out is this head sculpt is kind of fucking awesome. There's a great amount of definition there. It would have been nice to pick the eyes out with a different color, but whatever. That's God Bomber's head, and he's going to sit in his legs in these two holes here with these two posts, right? Just like that. Bring that up. There we are. God, this is. I'm surprised how well I'm doing, actually, quite frankly. Then we are going to add these two wing things, right? And the wing things are going to plug in with these fucking posts into these ports, okay? One there, one there. Design-wise, why? I guess fuck you, that's why. We are then going to add this section here. Now, it's a shame, right? Because this section here, this bit will sit on his ass, right? It would have been nice if this folded all the way in and collapsed in on itself, but it doesn't. So this part here will then clip onto these sections just here, with that hanging down his ass, like that. And that's his back. And then these two fucking hollow bits of plastic just here apparently form his arms, and these will go into these sections just here. Okay, so that's that. And ladies and gentlemen, if I give him his shoulder mounted weapon as well, which is just fucking ludicrous, that there is God Bomber. There is nothing to this whatsoever. This is light as fuck because it's a parts former. The only weight is actually in the legs, and that's not saying a lot. I think it's supposed to be a combat drone. I guess basically the equivalent of what Roller would have been, except it's got two legs and a head. And if I bring in Power Master Prime with his fucking guns that don't stay in his hands, right, there we have Prime and God Bomber together, and they are almost the same size. Okay, they are almost the same size. There's maybe like a centimeter in it or whatever. And like this, again, does look sort of impressive. This one, not quite as impressive as this one, because there's weight to this one, there's substance, and this is hollow as fuck, and kind of feels like a not an afterthought, but a tacked on unnecessary fucking gimmick, quite frankly. But the Japanese are going to Japanese, because it doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. It should, but it doesn't. It sounds like I'm being disparaging for no reason. I'm not. I do actually really, really like this toy, but it's fucking bollocks, right? We are now going to take Optimus Prime here to his super god
Jinrai Apex mode fucking his ultimate. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, his final form. Okay. So to do that, we need to completely dismantle this fucker one more time. Okay. So let's start by ripping his legs off, ripping his arms off, splitting everything apart, and folding the head back in. Okay. Now, every one of these parts has got to go somewhere. I'm just going to warn you of that now. Okay. We are going to fold away these tabs for the feet. Okay. We are then going to take everything off of Power Master Prime until you're left with just this. Okay. Oh, fuck me rotten. Right. We are going to start. This is absolutely insane. We are going to start by putting one of these on the bottom of his leg. Okay. Like that. And the other one we'll do the same thing just like this. It just sort of slides on and clips in due to friction. So he's now wearing the Cybertronian equivalent of fucking goth boots, right? Absolutely insane. This adds about another 12 feet to his height, right? See, to the point where I now can't get the whole fucking in focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to casually chat amongst yourselves as I extend my camera tripod, because there is no other fucking way of doing this. This is insane. Right. Get the light out of the way. Right, here we are. Right, so now... Jesus, fuck me. Right, so that's... Now Prime is wearing these fucking boots, okay? So now what we want to do is attach these laser gun things to the bottom somewhere around here, okay? Why? I don't know. Because that's what it wants you to do. So that's what we're going to do. And they sit very funky like that, okay? Then, because everything has got to go somewhere, this panel here is going to go on his back. And to do that, we lift this up, we plug this in like this, and then just bring that down. That doesn't actually sit down properly anymore, but whatever. What else are we going to do here? We are going to add these wings into these holes just here. One there. One on the other side. And then the arms, these arms here, apparently, are then going to clip over the existing arms. They don't really do anything to add any length to his arms. You might notice that, right? Back in focus, you bastard. Right. And then the final two parts of this, I guess, is this section here goes over the chest, which might go some way to explaining how I've got all that fucking paint scraping, but whatever. Again, most of this is just friction. That sits on like that. Does it? Yes, it does. Yeah. Then we're going to give him these guns again, which actually they do fit better in these holes here. So that says a lot. Not brilliantly though. And then, oh, please make it stop. Finally, we are going to give him this shoulder-mounted weapon, and that will sit just like this. And ladies and gentlemen, if you can fucking believe it, that right there is Power Master Optimus Prime in his Japanese form. Now, I'm glad I've got this. I really am glad I got this, especially for the money which I paid for it. However, I'm also glad that I didn't have this version as a kid. One, there's a lot of parts that could get easily lost by a fucking 8-year-old idiot, right? Second of all, it's a faff. I've just sat here, right, and faffed for 45 minutes doing this review just to get to that fucking stage, right? And as impressive as it is, as imposing and towering as it is, this is all it does. It doesn't do fuck all else. It is taking a brick and making a concrete wall. I mentioned that earlier. It's funky as all fuck. So why do I like this so much? This thing is a pain in the fucking ass. Why do I like this so much? Because it is extravagant. It is over the top. It screams late 80s and basically everything that was wrong with that. And it's I appreciate it's way too much. It's too much to actually have any kind of fun with, especially for the weight of the bloody thing. I mean, if you give this to an 8-year-old, they had to be a fucking bodybuilder to lift this, right? It's just absolutely fucking insane. This thing barely fits in my glass display cabinet. It's that tall. Okay. The original Power Master Prime that we had in the West was ridiculous. It was a brick. It was like the super mode or whatever, and that was fucking crazy and way too much. This thing here is wow. It's vibrant. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful colours, and it has like sort of many lingering elements that would go on to form like sort of bases for Optimuses in the future. The Jetwing modes, the super up mode, the combine mode, or whatever the case may be, have been staples for Optimus for like sort of many incarnations of the brand. But this thing is fucking insane. Absolutely insane. Would I recommend getting one? I'll leave that up to your own judgment, quite frankly. As I said, I was looking for a Power Master Prime and never fucked around with this one before. So, you know, for 20 quid, this thing is fucking on the money, right? This thing is decent for 20 quid. But Jesus, just Jesus Christ, lads. Yeah, that's my review. That fucking 50 minutes later is my review, right? I've not done a review that's taken an hour, I don't think. Unless, of course, I did the time I did G1 Scorpion. I can't remember. I wasn't intending it to go on for 50 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you for sticking with this. Wow, just what the fuck. Yeah, that's my review. This one goes out to Seaspray. Seaspray, I hope you're doing all right, man. I hope everything works out for you soon. Give me a bell. Let's chat sometime. I do hope you enjoyed this review. I do hope everybody enjoyed this review. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, even though this has gone on for a fucking hour, and therefore I don't necessarily feel like I deserve any more fucking subscribers because of the way this has turned out. But yeah, that there, ladies and gentlemen, that is Power Master Optimus Prime taken to the extreme. So yeah, that's all I can say. In fact, you know what? I didn't show Little Prime. I didn't show Generation 1 Prime off with the Power Master mode. This is Prime, right? Next to his fucking Japanese counterpart. Just right. Make your own fucking judgments on that, right? He's fucking twice the fucking height. Absolutely insane. So I'm going to leave you with this image right there, and to say thank you very much for watching this. I will be back next week with more reviews, more 7 Days to Die, and more nonsense. I've been Joe Gavin, also known as Wolfgang1, and I shall see you soon. Until then, take care. And when tomorrow comes, I feel you laying by me, like you ain't got nowhere else to go.